Hey, Pretty Girl Club. So, this is a follow up to a lot of the pretty privilege videos that I do on this channel. And I want to talk more about beauty pedestals and how to build yours because a part of the way that I built my beauty pedestal was by overcoming limiting beliefs about my own beauty. So, for example, I used to be scared of my own beauty, and I didn't realize that in my subconscious mind, my brain was basically associating beauty with danger. So, I used to have beliefs like, my beauty causes me to be harassed. My beauty makes me lose friendships. My beauty ruins my relationships. My beauty causes people to be jealous of me, which isolates me. My beauty causes people to randomly be competitive with me to the point where I can't enjoy life as much. My beauty makes me want to hide because I'm afraid of people criticizing me. My beauty puts a magnifying glass on all of my flaws. And even though those things may be true in some cases, I have learned to basically minimize the negative aspects of my beauty in my own mind because I noticed that my limiting beliefs about my own beauty they were becoming so big to the point where I didn't want to try to be beautiful or I didn't want to um, be pretty. And so the side effect of that, though, was that I wasn't able to access as much pretty privilege because I had a fear of being seen. So all of those limiting beliefs I just named, they caused me to have the fear of being seen, and that belief didn't serve me because one of my main goals in life is I do want to be seen. I want to have a YouTube. I want to do this YouTube channel. I want to be able to take pictures and look cute on Instagram. I want to be able to go out and enjoy life and go to the beach and wear a bikini and stuff. And so sometimes when it comes to your own beauty pedestal, if you have a lot of limiting beliefs about your beauty or beliefs that don't serve you, it can cause you to start having other fears to where you literally get nervous when you look in the mirror and your face looks beautiful and you have makeup on. I know that that's happened to me where I have actually been intimidated by myself when I look in the mirror. I know that there are some people that can relate to that. Have you ever put on makeup or put on a certain dress and you look so pretty to the point where you intimidate yourself in the mirror? That is actually a sign that you probably are challenging some of your internalized limiting beliefs about your beauty. And the reason you feel that intimidation could be because you associate that with, oh shit, now I'm about to cause a ruckus. Oh shit, now people are about to be mad at me. Oh my God, now my friends are going to not like me. Oh my gosh, now my boyfriend's going to think I'm cheating on him, or he's going to think I'm trying to get attention. Or you might feel intimidated by your own reflection because now you are directly facing that fear of being seen. Like it's kind of exposing your fear of being seen. So when it comes to the spiritual community, they have this concept of reaching an upper limit or a glass ceiling. And so sometimes if you have kind of a glass ceiling in terms of how high your beauty pedestal can be, like, hey, I'm only comfortable with this level of beauty. I'm only comfortable with being like a 5 out of 10. I can coast at a 5 out of 10. And I know that we're not rating ourselves on scales, but just so I can explain it. For some of you, you feel fine as a 5 out of 10. But let's say you get really dressed up one day, your makeup's done, your hair is done, you are slaying when it comes to your body, like your waist is snatched. Now maybe you look like, a 10 out of 10 basically. And so now you have surpassed the upper limits of your mindset, and your mindset is like, you're starting to freak out in your own mind. You're getting intimidated by your own reflection because in your mind, you're like, wait a minute, no, you're not supposed to be this pretty. You're not supposed to be seen like this. And so you're actually triggering yourself with your own beauty. I know that somebody can relate to this. I know that's happened to me before where it actually started happening to me in elementary school. So because people would kind of obsess so much, by the way, I went to an African American elementary school. I went to a private school. And because people would obsess so much over things like my skin and my hair texture, I remember being in elementary school and whenever I would get my hair done, like get a new hairstyle or whatever, I would be nervous because I would be thinking, oh my gosh, everybody's going to look at me now. Everybody's going to like talk to me. Everybody's going to try to touch my hair. All the teachers are going to like point it out in class. And so I literally was manifesting fear of my own beauty. That's something that started happening to me at a young age. And part of why I had the fear of being seen was because I knew that other girls in the class in elementary school, they might get mad or they might roll their eyes. And I also knew that I would be stereotyped negatively because of my beauty. Even in elementary school, I didn't use that type of language. I didn't have a way to articulate it when I was a kid. But yeah, like I knew that by getting my hair done, I was drawing all this attention to myself. And because I had a fear of being seen at a young age, it caused me to get nervous before I would go to school with my new little hairstyle and my little barrettes or my little curls popping or whatever. And so I've learned over the years that one of the things I've had to overcome if I want to continue building my pretty privilege or having my pretty girl pedestal is I have to overcome the fear of being seen. I'd have to overcome being scared of my own beauty. Because, for example, I wouldn't have had the courage to ever try out for modeling and stuff, if I had an extreme fear of being seen. Because obviously, if you're doing modeling or if you're doing a pageant or something like that, you are being seen in front of a crowd of people. Or even on Instagram, you're being seen in front of hundreds of people or thousands of people. And so that is something that I've had to learn to overcome when it came to embracing my own beauty. And I've noticed that a lot of the women who have a fear of being seen, that fear actually holds them back from manifesting the type of pretty privilege they want. And so that's why they get mad when they see another woman getting it, because they feel like, hey, that's not fair. If I am not visible, you don't get to be visible. I'm jealous now that there are women in the media who look like you. Well, those women who tried out for those acting roles, they obviously overcame the fear of being seen because they are willing to be seen in front of millions of people on these movies. And so overcoming that fear is actually going to be pivotal in your beauty journey, or at least that's something I had to realize about myself. That's actually going to be pivotal in my journey of becoming beautiful or like having that pretty privilege. Another question I had to ask myself is, how do I want my beauty to work for me? Why is it important for me to be beautiful? Why do I care about beauty? And I've realized that for me, I care about beauty because my outer beauty is a manifestation of how I feel on the inside, or at least that's what I want it to be. I want my outer beauty to reflect how I feel about myself on the inside. I also enjoy the way that I get treated when I am on a pedestal. Yeah, I said it, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I enjoy putting myself on a pedestal. I enjoy the way I'm treated by others when they give me pretty privilege. I believe that it makes my life easier. And by the way, I have the belief that pretty privilege can work with anybody who is not jealous of you, and it can work with anyone who thinks you're pretty or finds you attractive. So this works with women as well, because I know that for me, I give other women pretty privilege all the time. So for example, if I am at the mall and I see a girl who looks like me and she's working at the makeup counter, I'm going to compliment her and say, "Oh my gosh, you're so pretty." That is an example of me giving someone pretty privilege. If I am working with children and there's one really cute little girl, I'm going to say, "Oh my gosh, you're so cute." That's another example of me giving someone else pretty privilege. So that is another thing too. I had to define what exactly pretty privilege is and what pretty privilege means to me. So for example, one mistake that I've noticed that a lot of people make is they conflate racism and colorism with pretty privilege. Someone calling Ice Spice pretty is not colorism. Complimenting another girl is not colorism because they did not bash you. They didn't bash anybody else of any other phenotype. All that is Ice Spice receiving pretty privilege. A part of having pretty privilege is people are complimenting your beauty. Pretty privilege means people are complimenting you. Maybe you are receiving special treatment, such as, I don't know, getting a drink in a bar is a good example. Somebody offers to buy your coffee. People are doing favors for you. Some people will even say, "I am doing this for you because you're cute," or, "I just wanted to bless you today," like in the Christian background or whatever. They might say, "Oh, I just felt like blessing you today," or whatever. Or, "You look really cute." Like, actually, I can think of a time when I gave another girl pretty privilege. So I was in college, I was doing modeling, and one of my friends, so there was this one girl, she was like more of an acquaintance. I vaguely knew her, but she was always nice to me. I was always nice to her. She was a fellow Exotical. And I remember we were both trying on dresses for this fashion show. So I was doing both modeling and also styling for that particular fashion show. And I brought this one super cute pink sundress. It was so freaking cute, except the only problem was my boobs were hanging out too much in that dress. So the dress was just too small on my actual boobs. And my friend, or this one girl that was also in the fashion show, she was very pretty and extremely skinny, like so skinny. She did not have any boobs or butt. By the way, that's not a diss. She looked amazing. And so she tried on that dress, and the dress fit her body perfectly. It looked better on her body than it did on my body. the dress, my dress, was made really for her body type, for somebody that had just absolutely no boobs at all, no butt at all. Because you guys know, if you have an hourglass shape, sometimes if you wear a short kind of dress that's flowy at the bottom, your booty kind of like pops out of the skirt part, so that was kind of happening to me with that dress. My booty was kind of popping out of the skirt too much, to where if I'm walking up a flight of steps, you would directly be able to see underneath the skirt. My boobs are hanging out, so like if I kind of bend over the counter or something, you could see all the cleavage. So it was on me, it was showing too much. So this girl tried on this dress and it looked drop dead gorgeous, like on her body. It looked absolutely perfect. And I gave her pretty privilege in that moment. I said, girl, that dress looks so good on you. I was like, that dress looks perfect on you. I have never been able to wear that dress because I'm too, basically my boobs and butt are kind of like hanging out too much. I was like, do you want that dress? You can keep that dress. Because like it looks so cute on you and you're actually going to wear it because it literally fits your body perfectly. So like you can keep this dress after the show, because I already know I'm not going to wear it because it kind of wasn't made for my body type, but it was made for your body type. And so that's an example of me giving another girl pretty privilege. So a lot of people, they are very male centered when it comes to pretty privilege. They think that you can only receive pretty privilege in dating. No, I gave a girl at the fashion show pretty privilege by literally giving her a cute ass dress because I saw how pretty it looked on her, and I had never worn it because, it just didn't look right on me. So that's an example of receiving pretty privilege. She literally looked pretty, and I said, you can have that dress, because it's literally cluttering up my closet at this point. It's so cute. I want to wear it, but it's just not for my body type, no matter how skinny I get. By the way, I was extremely skinny at that time as well, but because of my actual shape and because I'm so tall, you guys know that if you're super tall, like skirts and stuff, it can look extremely short on you, to where literally your booty is hanging out. So for her, because she was just a little bit shorter, skinnier or whatever, I just gave her that dress. So that's an example of pretty privilege. A lot of people are very closed minded and they feel like, oh no, I specifically want to get looked at in a bar. And if that's what you want, then that's fine. So something you want to do though is, if you do want to get looked at in a bar, so for example, the woman who made that video saying, I don't have pretty privilege and it sucks, and then the example of her not having pretty privilege was her not being looked at in a bar, let's think about what is often considered beautiful in a bar. Usually it's kind of like the club look, or I don't know, how you would look at a lounge. I'm sorry, but I do tend to think of people who are skinny as being more likely to receive pretty privilege in a bar setting in particular. I'm not saying you can't have pretty privilege and be fat, because you actually can. You can still have pretty privilege and be big. I would say you would probably have more pretty privilege on Instagram if you are a BBW, as opposed to, going into a local bar in Wisconsin. And I don't know where that woman lives. She could live anywhere and they could have gone in any type of bar. But that's something else you want to think about as well. What type of pretty privilege do I want? What exact things do I want to manifest? Am I trying to get compliments? Because for me, I value compliments from women and children just as much, if not more, than compliments from men. Because a lot of guys who say, oh, hey, what's up, ma? Ooh, you looking good. Ooh, look at that ass. A lot of guys who say stuff like that, first of all, they're probably saying it to every girl that they see. And number two, a lot of guys have a tendency to devalue women. And so pretty privilege just from a random guy on the street, yes, it's nice to receive a compliment, but I tend to value like other women complimenting me as well, and especially children, because a lot of children don't have the same internal biases as adults do. And so I remember one time when a girl said I looked like a princess. I've actually received that compliment multiple times, and a part of that is because that's one of the types of pretty privilege I want to manifest. That's one of the pretty privileges I want to manifest. It is being told I look like a princess, looking like a princess, and receiving princess treatment. That's literally like one of the affirmations that I kind of give myself in my mind. And so even if a child says, oh, mommy, she's so pretty, she looks like a princess, that makes me happy inside. Or if people tell me that I look like Pocahontas, or I look like Princess Jasmine, or I look like Rhea, or I look like a fairy or some other like ethereal creature. A lot of people would tell me I look like a mermaid. That's an that was such a random compliment that a lot of people would give me, but that's a compliment though. And I feel like part of it is because I personally, I like to manifest the type of pretty privilege that is more ethereal. I've talked in other videos about how I like to do my own beauty standard. My beauty standards are more abstract. So I think of mermaids as pretty. I think of fairies as pretty. I think of princesses as pretty. So that's the type of pretty privilege I tend to manifest. For some people, the pinnacle of pretty privilege for them is marriage. Like, oh, I got into this hypergamous marriage. Some people start entire YouTube channels based on that. And they say, hey, getting married or getting hypergamously married to a white man, that is the pinnacle of pretty privilege. They don't say it in those exact words, but that is the subliminal psychological message that they're sending. And so that's another thing you want to be aware of as well. What are my views on pretty privilege? What type of pretty privilege do I feel is the most powerful? I've noticed that some people, they feel like celebrity status is the most powerful form of pretty privilege. I personally don't believe that. With all due respect, I personally believe that there are plenty of celebrities who, if they were walking down the street, there are plenty of other girls who look just like them. So for me, I don't tend to associate being a celebrity with like being prettier than other people or, somehow having a higher pedestal, because I feel like being a celebrity requires so many other skills other than just being pretty. But you may want to deconstruct that within yourself and ask yourself, okay, what makes me think that one girl is prettier than another? What makes me think that somebody else is prettier than me? And this is why sometimes when I hear women with inferiority complexes saying things like, oh, you only got called pretty because you're light skinned. Okay, well, you just revealed that your standard of pretty privilege is being light skinned. You just revealed that. Nobody said, Ice Spice, you are pretty because you are light skinned. No, somebody just complimented Ice Spice. People just said Tyla is pretty. They didn't say Tyla is specifically pretty because she is mixed race and light skinned with curly hair. I haven't seen anybody compliment her that way on YouTube. But if somebody says she's only considered pretty because she has light skin and curly hair, you just revealed that your internalized beauty standard is being light skinned with curly hair. And by the way, I don't shame people for their beauty standards, but if you don't meet your own internal beauty standard, you're going to struggle with comparing yourself to others, or others being perceived as prettier than you, or getting mad if somebody else is receiving special treatment and you're not. So like the women who say so and so got more likes than me on a dating app, well, that means that her internalized beauty standard is the type of girl who gets a lot of likes on a dating app. So she would have been better off by simply admitting that to herself. Hey, I really want to manifest the type of pretty privilege to where I get a lot of likes on a dating app. And then she could have just said, okay, what can I do to like get likes? Dating apps are kind of like social media. And so the social media type of beauty is something that I can incorporate into my beauty pedestal. So having a snatched waist is something I think of. Having like kind of this effortless beauty look. I think that the unfiltered types of pictures tend to be more popular, or like tend to be more pedestalized. I guess it depends on your culture though, because for some people they do like the extreme eyebrows and stuff. I personally am not into that. But that's a way that you can decide the type of beauty pedestal you want. By the way, jealousy is something that actually leads you to your desires. So whatever you get jealous of, that shows you what you actually want. Have you ever been jealous of yourself? Have you ever been triggered by your own reflection or by your own beauty? Or have you ever been like intimidated by your newfound beauty? Well, that shows that you have now become the woman that you were once jealous of. So that means that you have crossed a threshold. You have basically leveled up, because the types of women you used to be intimidated by, those women who run marathons and wear yoga pants and they have no fat on their bodies and they have six packs and stuff, maybe you used to be intimidated by those types of women and then you became that type of woman. That's a sign that you have actually leveled up in your beauty and in your own internalized standard of beauty. But the way that I like to think of it is I have a fluid identity. So that means that my beauty can also be fluid. So the way that I think of my body is like a canvas. For other people, they don't view their body as a canvas. They feel like, no, my beauty is only allowed to be natural. Or, they pedestalize natural beauty above makeup and stuff like that. By the way, this is all your internal pedestal. I don't shame people for their own internalized beauty pedestals, as long as they don't shame me for my beauty. So the only reason I talk shit is because you're talking shit about the type of beauty pedestal I'm receiving. But if your own internalized beauty standard is, I have to be naturally pretty. Okay, well, that's something that you should admit to yourself. Okay, I want to be naturally pretty. What does it mean to me to be naturally pretty? Okay, it means I have clear skin. It means that my eyelashes are naturally long as opposed to I put on the false lashes. It means that I don't wear makeup or I take pictures and stuff without makeup. So that's something you may want to think of. I've noticed that some of the most popular or some of the most common types of beauty pedestals that women want to build for themselves are social media beauty, beauty in the dating market, sexual, like sexiness. So, kind of like having a big booty or, I don't know, hourglass waist, snatched waist, perky boobs, whatever. Youthful beauty is another one that I'm thinking of. But like I said, for me personally, I tend to think of beauty as something that's more abstract because I don't want my beauty to be common. No shade to those other types of beauty pedestals. I incorporate all of those into my beauty standards for myself as well, but I like to think of it in an ethereal way because it kind of helps to satisfy the childlike nature within myself. So when I was a kid, I used to always think that princesses were pretty and mermaids were pretty. So a part of what I'm doing with my beauty is satisfying my inner child. It's like a form of remothering myself, reparenting myself. So that's what I like to use my beauty for. I like to actually use my beauty as a form of psychological healing towards myself. And that's something I've never seen other people do. A lot of other people, they just use their beauty to get paid or to get a man, and that's fine too. But I like to have another special use for my beauty, which is bringing healing to myself. So even if nobody else says I look like a princess, if I put on a little sparkly headband and a pink shirt and a pink skirt, I look in the mirror and feel like a princess. So that actually makes me feel internally happy. It makes my inner child happy. So that's kind of the psychology behind my beauty standard for myself. But what types of pretty privilege do you like? Do you value one type of pretty privilege over another? Have you ever been triggered by the type of pretty privilege someone else has? Because I've noticed another thing is people they think that there are only 5 or 6 types of pretty privilege, and so when they see you manifesting a totally different type of pretty privilege, they're like, "What the fuck? I didn't even know that that was possible. I didn't know it was possible to have a unibrow and still be considered pretty, Rihanna." And so then they get all mad because they're like, dang it, I could have made up my own beauty standard and then like rocked with that. Anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.